Tamers, our job again today. And on to day 3 of my deck list countdown for Ex7. And for today's deck list, I'll be going over my take on the newly updated BT17 Pulsemon deck, as this ends up bookending the Secret support for the time being. Well, before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to help with the algorithm. Now onto the deck list. Starting off with the eggs, the deck ends up running a full playset of new BT17 Digimon, who ends up being your memory efficiency tool for the most part, as it's inheritable is gain 1 whenever effect places a Tamer card, and this Digimon stacks looting sources, which plays really well, given that this deck mainly focuses around one singular named Mindlink Tamer. Well, going up to our rookies now. The key lineup ends up being full copies of BT17 Pulsemon and BT16 Pulsemon, with the newer BT17 Pulsemon being the standard Seeker Tamer cheater. As well, this Pulsemon allows you to slot in a Leon Alexander named Tamer during the start of your main phase, and to go in line with the Pulsemon deck's theming of security. Depending on your security, you also gain an effect when you manage to place down Alexander through this effect. For the 3 or more effect, you gain 1 memory. And then if you're 2 or fewer, you get to recover 1, being able to then play into the magic number of 3 security for the deck. Then going into BT16 Pulse, ends up being the searcher for the deck, as, well, it's for searching effect, searches for any card that has Pulsemon in its text. And that includes pretty much most of this whole deck as well. Then you get the second hit for more narrow search in the form of looking for rabbit and electronic traits, which ends up including the newer Pulsemon line, as well as your Leon Alexanders and the new option. And following in support is 3 copies of the promo Pulsemon and 1 copy of BT6 Pulsemon, with promo Pulsemon being a draw engine for the deck, as during the early game, you can hard place this down to simply gain 1 memory, but if you're staying at the magic number or 3 below, you get to gain 1 memory for memory efficiency when you hard play this. While BT6 Pulsemon is 1 avenue to go to hard play to bring you down to the magic number, though its main option really is for its jamming effect as the inheritable. Granted, it's a bit niche given that you are required to be staying at 3 security in order to grant jamming. And that's it for the rookie lineup. On to the level 4s. Starting off with level 4 lineup being 4-cop full playset of the new BT17 Pulsemon, 3 copies of BT17 Namake and BT16 Namake, 3 copies of the promo Exermon, and 1 copy of BT16 Runnermon. And for the reason of this deck, the new BT17 bulk ends up being the main level 4 deck, as well. You pretty much play into it for its alternate effect, as, well, setting up a separate stack of bulk with Leon underneath itself pretty much allows you to benefit by keeping up it within your, well, by pretty much recycling and refilling security whenever any of your effects end up trashing your own security during your turn. And then from there, Nimake here is the defensive tech. As it's on play, 3 or fewer, pretty much allows you to grant one of your Digimon DP reduction protection and the Digivolve protection till the end of the opponent's turn. And then at 3 or fewer, you also can grant Digimon Blocker and Reboot. While Ex7 and Runnermon here are primarily for stunning at 3 or more effects, though at 3 or less, Ex7 prevents the opposing one target from unsuspending, while Runnermon ends up gaining you 1 memory for memory efficiency. And then, as you can see, out of BT17 and 16, these ends up granting a buff for inheritables for your stack. While Ex7 here ends up allowing for more combo plays, as whenever this Digimon that's under is suspended, you also get to suspend one opposing Digimon with less DP than itself. That's it for the level 4s. On to level 5s. For the most part, I end up running full playset of Bulkmon, 3 copies of BT16 Climbon, BT16 Shootmon, and BT16 Pistmon, with Boutmon here being the main level 5 of the deck, as ends up being the standard Seeker flavored evolution cheat, as long as you have Leon Alexander, you're able to Digivolve this up into a Pulsemon Intex in response to when effect removes security. And that actually works really well, given that its first effect is a protection against effect deletion that trashes your own security to prevent it from leaving. And then from there, we also run 3 Climbons as a sort of draw engine, and also revival tech for the deck. While Shootmon here is more so a control option, being able to Digivolve 1 at 3 more, and then at 3 or less, being able to delete a low cost 6 or less Digimon in play. While Pistmon here suspends down and prevents that target from unsuspending next turn, or at 3 or fewer, being able to gain 2 memory for memory efficiency. With all 4 of these granting the inheritable to trash the top of your own security to unsuspend. And this ends up playing well with the high end of the deck. As going into our level 6s, I run a 3-3 split between the new BT16 Kazuchimon and the old BT17 Kazuchimon, and then BT16 Shroudmon. With Kazuchimon being a bit of a new star, the new star for this, as excuse me. Well, it now is in its own deck. I actually get to go over. It's one Digivolving. Since on Digivolve, you get to suspend down one opposing Digimon, and if Leon Alexander is in this Digimon sources, all of your opponents get a blanket -1 until the end of their turn. As well, you also get to get the benefit of the end of turn to pretty much, at 3 or more security, hit an opposing Digimon with -6,000 DP, and at 3 or fewer, get to recover 1, and then be able to immediately attack. And then Shroudmon here is another removal option, as when Digivolve when attack, at 3 or more security, when your opponent's Digimon gets hit with -7,000 DP instead, and at 3 or fewer, you get to delete one of your there unsuspended Digimon. Then following that, its all turns effect grants it protection for all turns, allowing you to have 2 protections as long as you, well, if you're staying at 5 security, if this were ever to be threatened. And then on delete, you get to recover 1 up to 3 security on delete. And to top off the Digimon lineup, I end up playing the 1 copy, the new BT17 Shine Greymon Burst Mode. As this Burst Mode can actually go over either, since they're both, well, yellow. And this ends up being good for the deck, as, well, on Digivolve, you get to play out Tamer for free, and then for each Tamer, you get to you get to target 1 opposing Digimon, and then for each Tamer, that Digimon gets hit with minus 5,000 EP for each. As well, given how well you synergize with this deck already, this Shine Greymon also has the ability to, on attack, suspend up to 2 yellow Tamers in order to gain sec +1 for each. Pretty much having this check for 3 checks if you end up paying the maximum suspend down. And that transitions now onto the Tamers of the deck. As for me, I end up running a 3-3 split of the new Leon Alexander from BT17 and the Hacker Judge from BT16, with both being, well, Leon Alexanders, with Hacker Judge being the, well, Memory Star Tamer for the deck, and Leon Alexander being the passive memory gain if your opponent has a Digimon on board. Wait, actually, nope, I'm actually Secret Pilled. As long as you have a Digimon with Pulsemon in text, you gain 1 memory passively. And well, going in both having the ability to Mind Link and granting any Digimon with Pulsemon in text blocker and barrier, which also plays into, well, most of the effects seen in the deck. Then, to cap off the deck itself, going into options. For me, I end up playing 3 copies of Hacker's Pride from BT17, and the 1 copy of Thunderflame Pressure from BT16. With Hacker Pride, it ends up being the searcher of the deck, allowing you to top deck 3 and add 1 Pulsemon in text card, returning the rest. And in a unique twist of a delay, similar to Demon Wolf of the Nine Wolf Castle, Hacker's Pride pretty much allows you to pop itself for its delay. They then place the top card of one of your level 4 higher Digimon with Pulsemon in text to top of security to gain 2, which ends up being a unique play given this board state. Well, then Flame Crusher here ends up being a very neat removal tech, as well, it ends up allowing you to set up the magic security as well, since it ignores color conditions as long as you have a Tamer or Digimon with Pulsemon in text, and it gets to reduce its own cost by trashing cards on the top of your security up to, well, until you have 3, reducing the cost by 2 for each. So from full security, that brings it down to a cost of 2. Cost of 2 afterwards. And then you get to delete 1 opposing Digimon that's level 5 or lower. But if you're staying at 2 or fewer security, you get to put this at the bottom of security. And now on to the combos. Now going into the combos. For the most part, for your starting hand, it's normally a standard fare of seeing 2 rookies in your starting hand, most specifically the Tamer cheater as the rookie that you first evolve in the back into, and then seeing your Tamers, since either Tamer can be cheated out through BT17 Pulse. And from there, your third priority is just seeing any of your level 4s, as pretty much you could go off of any, well, route, as long as you know what to look for in your matchup. And then following that is definitely seeing Hacker's Pride as one of your early findings, as it ends up being another search option, as well as setting up combo plays as, well, going from level 4 or your level 5s, you pretty much could, well, security the top card to then be able to gain 2 memory for further, well, to go into another one of the same level. In some cases, you end up being able to correct yourself before you go into your heavy hitters in Shroud and Kazuchimon. As well, pretty much you end up passively gaining memory quite well with this deck once you get the ball rolling. As once you get the turn, BT17 Pulse moves out, you get to cheat out and Hacker Judge, and in the early game, that normally ends up pretty much saying you straight to 3 off of 1 come your next turn after you go first. From there, it's pretty much just, well, playing out a board and developing out and finding your pieces. As well, you continue to climb up the line, creating a buy with a lot of decent passives. Or in the case of having Ex7, being able to sort of control out the board. As well, Hacker Pride being part of that process, pretty much allowing you to, well, switch out whatever level 4, level 5 you have going in throughout the board state. As well, you could either hold out by going into any of your other level 5s that are about to then pop Hacker's Pride, shield at the top, and then following up with going up until level 5 with Beltmon to then pop off, such as swinging Bout into a possible ability that'll trigger either Barrier or Effect Deletion to then trash the top of security and go into Shroud or Kazuchimon for free. Then from there, just pretty much controlling board and willing away at the opponent. And overall, this deck heavily focuses on knowing your matchups, as one wrong move can pretty much just put you in the gutter, as well, you're pretty much wanting to stay at the magic number of 3 security, or to get both effects of both of your line. Overall, that has been my take on the BT17 Kazuchimon deck. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and this is Cyberjaw signing off.